Welcome back to the Spiritual Uplevel Podcast. I'm your host, Jeri Cristine, and today I have two of my absolute favorite people in the whole wide world and two of the hosts of our upcoming ladies retreat that we do every year in Arizona. This is Kim Richter and Kalyn Lapidus. And ladies, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks
You're
for having
welcome.
us.
So today we're going to talk about our retreat and why it's so amazing and what people can expect and why ladies should come, who our people are. So let's get started by I'm going to have you guys kind of introduce yourself and just a little bit about what you do. Okay. So Kim, do you want to go first?
Sure. So the bulk of what I do is breath work, but also what we do specifically with the retreat, we'll do hape at the retreat, probably a sound bath, meditations, all of those things. So all of those things that we are looking at going inward, moving energy, shifting. Those are really my focuses. A lot of moving energy.
Yeah. Beautiful. Kaylin?
I am a chef, and even more than that, I am a nutrition coach. I love teaching people how to eat clean and how to take care of their bodies. And specifically at the retreat, I am on the back end helping all the ladies nutritionally, get what they need to get through the weekend with high energy and good vibes and all of that.
I love it. And then I am a life coach and I help people discover limiting beliefs and patterns and release those. And so, as you guys were talking, I know we've probably talked about this before, but as you were talking, I was thinking that's so interesting. Like, I do a lot of the logical mindset work. Kim does the more energy, esoteric movement, and Kaylin makes sure that our physical bodies and energy are in a space that allows all of that stuff to happen.
It's
So
a
what I love that.
it's a good mix. I love it.
It's a beautiful combination, but I do need to, I want to correct Kaylin on something because you said that you were on the back end, and I don't feel like what you do and the food is back end at all because it is so prominent and so important for the weekend. The intention that we put into the weekend is massive, right? I mean, we ladies meet weekly throughout the entire
Yes.
year for it. But the food plays such a crucial part of it. So all the intention that we're putting into it, the food is a massive part of that. And keeping the vibrations high all weekend, you can feel it all weekend. And the food is crucial for that because it's clean, healthy eating, and it's made with love.
You are so right. It's made with so much love. And also in the homes that we've done, which I'm so excited about the home this year, it's like that open concept. So I'm talking to the ladies the whole time. People are walking around while we're making food. So it's just like one big happy family. So I am very much in the limelight with everyone while I'm doing it. But
And
yeah.
Caitlin, you've done a lot of personal work too. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's not like you're just a chef. You're also a coach. Like you're so much. So that is so important. And Kim, like you said, it is so forefront. But I think the first year when we started, we didn't realize how forefront Kaylin and her food and her coaching and stuff were going to be. And we were so pleasantly surprised. And it was such an integral part that we actually made Kaylin a partner in the whole retreat because it like she has to be there every
Yeah,
year. So
I agree. I mean, it's so magical, the combination that we all have that yeah, Kaylin, you have to be there. It's a must.
Yes, it's so
and
great.
then another thing that you said, Kim, was that we meet every year. We put so much intention into what we do at the retreat. And I just want to kind of go back and hit on that because I know from experience and from talking to other retreat leaders that that's not common. That's not a common thing. Like a lot of retreat leaders are amazing at what they do. They plan a retreat and they go and they may have a schedule. Some of them kind of wing it. Some of them have a schedule, but it's not something that people like meet about every single week for an entire year making sure that it's perfect and like everything about it is perfect. And I think that's one of the things that sets our retreat apart, is just how much focus goes into making sure that every single detail is impactful, and that people, like, I know I always say, and I know you guys agree, but I always say I don't want somebody going up to their room on a break and going, we could have done all of this in one day. And they're like bored of what's happening, like it's too much reflection time or whatever. And that's never what happens at our retreats. Like, people need a break. We give them breaks. But there is so much jam packed. There's so much stuff moving. There's so much energy moving. It's so exciting that it's just different. Like, I've been on those retreats where I'm like, I could have done this in a day. Like, I need action. And I love that that's what happens at a retreat. There's just so much that comes out of it for each woman. And I guess that's what keeps me wanting to do this retreat every year.
Yes. From my end, just watching you two ladies work your magic with all the ladies is so cool. The way that you guys just love on them. And like you said, like they have constant things to do that keep them active. And then it just creates this. I mean, just the energy of all the ladies. I just love it so much. By the last day, you just feel like they're your soul sisters. And the way the two of you put all that together and the love that you guys just pour into these women is just, it's just so fun to witness. And I just love working with you guys because of that. You guys are just all love.
One of my favorite things is when people come in the very beginning, we have a family style meal, and then we sit around and we talk about, why are you here? What brought you here? And how often, Kim, do people say, well, I came because she thought it would be a good idea? And they're like pointing at their friend. They're like, I have no idea. I was supposed to be here, apparently. And then by the end of it, they're like crying and hugging everybody. They're like, this is why I was supposed to be here. Like it unfolds in such a beautiful way. And
Yes, everyone leaves with their why.
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
feel called, if people feel called to do it, it's just do it. You don't need to know why.
That's where I always think it's so hard to tell somebody. Like, one thing, we're really, really, really good at retreats. We're really bad at marketing. We're just really bad at marketing. Like that. We're not, but I think my struggle is always, how do you market? Like, if you don't know what is wrong in your life, you just know there's maybe something not amazing about it. Come see us. We'll help you uncover what that is and send you out the door feeling amazing and ready to conquer the world. Like, how do you market that,
Right?
but
Yeah.
that's what happens so often. And like, I think of last year, like at least three ladies who like literally transformed their world, like right out the gate. Their whole year was different and impactful and life changing. I know, like Abby, for example, I know she's okay sharing, but like she reconnected with family and like moved, and her marriage expanded, just like everything got 1,000 times better. And she was one of the people that wasn't quite sure why she was there.
Right. I mean, when you come and you get some, these small things out of the way that are holding back the massive things you're supposed to be attracting, I mean, it's gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah. So this year, Kim, chime in. We're just going back and forth. This year, our
That's
theme is release, expand, connect. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, hold on. I do want to jump back to something that you said about the retreats and how we have so much on the itinerary. I do want to touch base just about the fact that I always think that more women are going to take more time and go to their room or go for a nature walk and take more time by themselves because we have jammed so many things into the schedule. but nobody ever takes any breaks. Nobody ever wants to miss any of the classes or meditations. Nobody really wants to miss out on the group energy. And so even though, we offer that, if someone does need some time for themselves to go inward, usually everyone just wants to be together the whole time because it is so impactful, and it is so, I don't know, mind blowing. It's personal growth.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
Yeah,
I
I feel
think
like a
even,
lot of them, sorry, Jer. I think
no,
a
you're
lot of them make their way into the kitchen and come talk to me and Shauna, and I just love that so
fine.
much.
That's so true. They want more of what you're offering. They want more of your surprise desserts and juices and things that
Right?
nobody's expecting.
Well, and not only is the food delicious that Kalyn makes, like unbelievably delicious, but there's so many little nuggets, right? I mean, we go through our day-to-day life and we're trying to figure out like what are the best shoes to buy for the kids, and how we're going to be doing all the day-to-day things, but all of those specifics that she knows about how to nurture our bodies with food. There's so many things that we don't know. So there's so much that we learn from you, Kalyn. So thank you for spreading your knowledge just
Yes.
about food and being healthy with us and with all of the women who
Yeah.
show up for the retreat.
Yeah, I can't help it. It's all I want to talk about. So God put it on my heart, and that's what you do when you're following what you're supposed to do, right? Just like you guys.
So true. And Kim, I wanted to go back to that about, people have space if they need it. But again, thinking back to last year, there was one lady who needed some processing time. However, she wanted to do it on her mat around everyone else. She was quiet in her own space. However, she wanted the energy of everyone else around her, because there's something really truly magical that happens when a group of women get together to do like inner soul work.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a safe place. And it's really a beautiful place, because I think the three of us are so blessed that we have really amazing women in our lives on a daily basis. And so maybe we don't realize, but a lot of women go to work in places that the women aren't so wonderful, or they have, you know, women women compete with each other all the time out in the world. And women can a lot of times feel like not a safe place for other women. And it's really incredible when there's just that safe space and every single woman is in the same on the same page, so we know nobody's judging, nobody's gossiping, nobody, we even
Mm-hmm.
encourage women to not wear makeup, and that's super uncomfortable for a lot of people. I know it was for me a few years ago, and usually by the end everyone's not wearing makeup, or they're wearing a lot less makeup. We've taken off the masks, and just freedom, permission to be free and to be who you truly are.
Which is so funny because last year I thought we'd have a little bit of pushback about the makeup thing. And the women were ecstatic to hear that we could go a whole weekend without makeup and not even worry about it. So that was really fun to witness.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, it's so fun, like with that sort of thing, or like women who are uncomfortable crying, or uncomfortable laughing from a place of true joy. Sometimes we as women laugh from a place of uncomfortableness, you know, like, oh, ha, that's so funny, instead of like true joy. And by the end of it, just seeing the true joy or real tears coming out, it's um maybe that's one of the reasons that it's so powerful, is we actually like crack open the heart, that heart
Mm-hmm.
shell around that surrounds a lot of our hearts. We crack it open so that the love can flow in and out.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So this year is about release, expand, and connect. So let's talk about that a little bit. So I'm kind of in charge of the schedule, because with the coaching, everything else kind of follows along with the coaching work that I do. The breath work, the sound baths, the food, everything supports a particular trajectory, let's say. And so we do hard work and then we let off the gas a little bit so that people can have a break. So there's intensity, break, intensity, break, right? And then like cool down at the night so that people can sleep. Um, so this year with release, that is, all those things we've been talking about, like release the mask, be who you truly are, release that stranglehold that you have protecting your heart, and the way that we approach it, it's different for everyone. Like, it's not just release the bad relationship what you have with your husband, because not everybody's married, that comes, right? So it's a more generic, what is the main issue that you're struggling with in your life? And let's work on tools that help you release that. Because whenever we have a problem, we see it like, we're focused on, that's all we can see is the problem right here. And if we can release a little bit and pull back to like a 30,000-foot view, that allows us to see possibility and options and gives us the space to breathe into that area. And that, releases that main issue, which in turn is always surprising. People are always amazed how releasing that biggest issue can release so many other things at the same time. And so again, how do you tell somebody what they're going to do at the retreat? Well, it depends on what you need, what are you coming in with? So that's kind of the release. And then the expand is, what do you want to fill that space with? So that space that you've just created to release that biggest issue in your life, which is kind of a domino for these other issues to release, what do you want to fill that space with? Because you can't just leave an empty hole. The universe doesn't, the universe abhors a vacuum. And so it has to be filled with something. And so then that's where we set the intention. Like, what's your future vision? Who are you who are you in your dreams? Who is the girl, the lady that you imagine yourself being in a perfect world? And then let's fill yourself with that and that belief and movement towards that woman and become her. And then the connect, of course, is what we do all weekend. Connecting with each other, connecting with other women, connecting with yourself, and connecting with God,
I love
spirit.
that. You mentioned about what the women are coming in with. Can we touch base a little bit about maybe the restrictions that the women are feeling who are showing up? I know for me, there's a lot of women reaching out maybe who are facing a lot of anxiety. They want to release control. They really want to start a grief process, and healing around the feminine and being around the feminine. So those are the women who I'm noticing. I don't, if you ladies want to share what you feel is coming through on your end.
No, I agree with that. I see, you attract what you are, always our inner world is, our outer world's a reflection of our inner world, right? And so Shauna, our other partner who isn't here, has in the last couple years faced a lot of grief, a lot of challenges in her life that way. And so I'm maybe not surprised that we have women coming through who are in that same situation, whether it was like the loss of a spouse or a loved one or divorce. And so, yes, a lot of grief. And for me, um, I always came from such a masculine energy perspective. My background is, I own several businesses, real estate investor. Like, I worked in a man's world for, there's a lot of women in that field now, but when I started 25 years ago, it was all men and me in the rooms most of the time. And so the last several years of the spiritual journey have been about me becoming comfortable in the feminine. And so, yeah, bringing in women who are maybe not that comfortable in the feminine energy, type A, you can count on, you know, one hand how many times you cried in the past year or two. You know, those are my ladies. I like
Mhm.
those ladies. I like to see people cry. No. But like that's, you know, for sure. That's for sure the people that I bring in, the people who like, you know, are
Oh,
I can't hear you anymore.
there.
Okay.
It's back. Could you
yeah,
not could you not hear me?
For like a millisecond.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. We'll edit
And
that.
Jeri, I think all of us are like that because that's who your friends are too. Ones that used to be more of the boss babes, and now we're the feminine boss babes.
That's so true. I know we're all like that. It's so funny. We're like a bunch of recovering type A.
Well, when you were saying like you could count on one hand how many times you cried in the last year or two, I was thinking before I was like in this world, right, doing this work, I was like maybe I could count in 10 years. You know,
I
I cried.
know.
And
I
now
know.
I'm like practically on the daily.
When people used to tell me that they cried at commercials, I'd be like, why are you such a fucking baby? Like, you know, and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. It's Hallmark. I can't watch Hallmark commercials.
Oh my gosh, I tear up so much. I took my daughter Belle to an Annie play yesterday, and I'm tearing up just thinking of kids in an orphanage. I'm like, why can't I be everyone's mother? I just cry over all sorts of stuff.
Annie is great though, so
Yeah, but it's just the compassion level, right? When you're to the place where you're connected and stuff, that you can't have one without the other. I mean, compassion just comes in and takes a front seat, and then it's just such a beautiful awakening, like Jeri was talking about, opening up that heart, and so when you come to the retreat, we do this beautiful work with you that opens up your heart, and then you get to go home and you go home and just like you're these few degrees different in this area, but it makes these huge results. Like your marriage can blossom in a new way, your or dating life, and going home and just being a better mother and a better, just going home, I feel like with more of like a servant's heart because you're cracked open a little bit, and from that place you can really help other people in your life and really step into that role because you're so filled up.
Yeah, realizing that it's safe to be feminine and to come from that place of serving, that it's
Yes.
safe and you're loved and you have support. And so many women over the years have messaged me that you know, they've totally stepped out of their comfort zone and done something risky, or they've bought colorful clothes as I'm wearing gray. They've bought colorful clothes for their wardrobe, you know, like before my wardrobe was mostly gray and black. I actually just bought this because I don't have any gray or black anymore. I have all
I like it.
colorful, you know, but or they've done something or even had a conversation with their child that they never would have had before. It just affects so many areas when you can be open and, you know, I, I'm just thinking, I'm pausing because I'm thinking of so many examples of how people have changed. Let's talk about how we've changed. Like, because, okay, how we came to be here. About 4 years ago, towards the beginning of my spiritual journey, I was taking a walk out by my house in nature, and I had this download of what a women's retreat would look like, kind of like the schedule from start to finish. And I just had it so on my heart. I wanted other women to experience what I had experienced because this journey had changed my life so much. Like I said, I was so in the masculine, and I've been able to balance that out. And that transformation had positively impacted me and my family so much. I wanted other people to experience it. Um, and then, I knew Kim and asked Kim to partner with me. And then we asked Kalyn to partner with us on that. But Kim, like, how did you get to be where you are? Like, what was your journey like? Why do you do this work?
I feel like it's more of a soulful journey than a spiritual for me. But I feel like the last, I don't know how long it's been, 8 years, 7 years, something, that it's more just about being open, and more in the flow of what kind of comes through in your life. And, if like you start seeing a specific color 5 times, or you meet the same person through 3 different avenues, like, okay, there's something here, like, let's look at this. And so for me, with specifically with the retreat, I mean, it was just as simple as Jeri saying, hey, I have this vision, I want to do a retreat. Okay, let's do it. Like, I didn't feel like there was any resistance for it. It's like, let's embark on this new adventure together. And so doing things like the retreat will allow you to be open so that you can stay in the flow, so that when these things come through, you can be open to it and just be able to jump on it and jump in the experience.
Kim, I have a question. What is the difference between spiritual and soulful? I don't know if I've ever thought about that before.
I feel like I feel like when I think of spiritual, I think of a lot of outward, and with soulful, I think it's more inward, just to keep it super
Interesting.
simple.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I think that's probably the case. I don't know, maybe both at the same time, but I think you have to go inward. And I think a lot of women, maybe I'm going to say especially moms, but I think women in general, we believe that if we're focusing on ourselves and putting ourselves as a priority, that that's selfish. And I think it's so important that that idea gets eradicated, because you know, it's just like on an airplane. You got to put your oxygen mask on first so that you can help your kid. Otherwise, you're both going to pass out and die, you know? And for me in my life, that's what was happening, was like, I was not healthy, like physically not healthy, because I had exhausted my body to the point that, like literally it was shutting down. I couldn't have children because my ovaries had shut down. My adrenals had shut down. My kidneys were, according to one doctor, going to be shutting down in the next couple years if I didn't fix something. And I just was honestly raised in a way that, like, you just kept going. Like if you had commitments, or you had children, or you had anyone else in your life, you just keep going until you're like completely on your deathbed basically. And then you had an excuse if you had a fever to like take a rest. And that's like, that doesn't serve anyone. Because then there I was miserable. So my marriage was miserable. My parenting was terrible. My work was failing. And when I started going inward and prioritizing myself, all of a sudden everything kind of fell in place. Like even my marriage is better because I've set boundaries. Even my husband appreciates that I have boundaries, and he treats me sweeter and kinder and more loving. My kids are better. They know their boundaries. They know my boundaries, and they can flourish in that space. So I love that you said that, because I don't know that I had really thought about that before.
Yeah,
So
you'll chew on that one
Kalyn,
for a minute. You'll come back later and talk about it with me later for sure. And about and about what you're saying too, just about the shifts that happen. There's so many times with breath work that somebody might be coming to breath work, once a week for a month, and they say, "Oh my gosh, my kids are nicer. I'm getting along with my partner better. Like everything's so much better in life." And it's like, what has changed in them? And it's like, no, they have not changed. You're the one doing the work. Once you start making the shifts and you start recognizing and growing, that's the best gift that you can give to your kids. Focusing on other people, other people, other people, that's going to put you in that downward spiral 100%. But taking care of yourself means that you're taking care of everybody else in your life. It just is. It has to be you first. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything to give.
yeah,
Yes, the journey is home to yourself. You already are everything you've been looking for. And that's just what you have to be reminded of. And I feel like that's what it is. Instead of like a learning, it's a remembering. It's like, oh, there you are. Oh, wow. We can hold that mirror up for you and just show you how beautiful you are, how miraculous. And then you can go home and be that with everyone in your life. And then guess what? Big things change because of it.
Oh, Kalyn, I'm gonna cry. That's so beautiful. I almost want to end on that. Is there anything else you guys want to share?
Come to the retreat. We want
I
to be
know.
with you.
I'm gonna ask you each one last question. If there's nothing else you're feeling called on your heart to share right now. So my one question is, Kim, what's one thing that you would say to somebody who is considering coming to the retreat?
Say yes. Say yes. Do it for yourself.
Mm,
Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself because you deserve it and because you are worthy.
mm, that's beautiful. Kalyn.
Um, I would say do it because you will leave with us three plus Shauna in your pocket, and you will leave with new friendships. And again, you will just discover more of who you are that you can take into your life. So the time is now. The world's crazy. The time is now to, hone in on yourself and then make your life what you want it to be and come and let us help you with that. So say yes, come be with us in January.
So beautiful. Thank you, ladies, for being on here and talking with me today and sharing with our audience. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks and to meeting all the ladies who are going to be there whose lives we have the honor of impacting.
Same.
Yes. I'm so excited because I just feel that there's several more that are going to come through, and I'm just so excited to meet everyone.
Yeah.
We do have a handful of options though, and one of the options is already sold out. So if someone's considering, jump on it now.
That's a good point. Don't wait. We want to see you there. We can't wait to meet you, and we can't wait to just see how your lives change and support you through that. And it's going to be beautiful.
I love it. Thanks, Jeri.
Thanks, Jabber.